Robbie, you got the recorder as well?
The girls have them.
I don't have, I have the BZA one. Oh,
Robbie, you got the recorder
I'll use my phone.
Oh, we have to think.
as well?
Is it double?
Yeah, you gotta mute one of them.
Okay, they're on, you're live. I think Quinn has the other one. What's that?
We're gonna have to record it on our phones.
Well, we have this.
Yeah, we have that, yeah.
Just in case that wasn't working, I was hoping we had it.
Oh,
working.
no, it's working.
All right, we're gonna get started.
Yep.
The pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Robbie, you want to do roll call?
Do you need an agenda?
No, I need one yet. Didn't get one. Sorry. Mark Allen,
Here.
Howard Bailey, Bill Worley,
Here.
Mike Vandermark,
Here.
Roberta Lee,
Here.
Gwen Renz,
Here.
Lydia Dutton,
Here.
Tim Bookwalter, Robbie Blodgett here, Eugene Pugh.
Here.
Okay. All right, so the plan commission attorney discussion. I'm not sure there's a lot for us to cover in this meeting, but anything from the board?
Well, we're gonna do next meeting.
Yep,
Next meeting, we'll have the attorney come in.
yes.
Then I think we've got that checked off the list.
Anything else from the board? Okay. Complaint,
Yeah, I'm up.
Grovertown.
Yeah, that's me. So let me give you guys the quick synopsis. So first, let me see, Amber here? There's Amber. So I have received, some information from Amber in regards to a complaint that has kind of been ongoing. So I'll pass this around. It's a lot of information, but I'm gonna give you the basic gist of what I do know. So this is in regards to the property at 5380 North, 1100 East in Grovertown. In 2019, a permit was issued to add a residence within an existing pole barn at this location. The property owners are Patrick and is it Stephanie? Jeremiah and Stephanie Patrick. So in February 2020, Patrick was granted a permit for a new 40 by 64 pole barn. In 2021, a variance request was filed to use that pole barn as a wedding venue. At that time, no mention was made of any kind of cabin rentals. On April 12th, and I'm gonna look at Mark because he was on the Board of Zoning Appeals at that time. On April 12th, 2021, the Board of Zoning Appeals held a hearing in regards to the wedding venue. At that time, the variance was denied unanimously. On the 14th, a formal denial letter was sent, 14th of 2021, a formal denial letter was sent to Patrick citing unauthorized business activity. And the BZA had been informed at that time about the cabins being rented without appropriate permits. So that letter was sent to him. May 5th, a shed permit of 2021, a shed permit was approved for the same property. Under the condition comments, it was documented that Stephanie admitted it might be used for overnight guests in the future, but declined to go through the BZA process. And Mary did let her know at that time. Robbie was there because it says Robbie was a witness that they could not rent that cabin out until they got a variance. So April 29th is the first time my understanding that Amber reached out and filed a public records request for all of this documentation as a neighbor. And it's now been discovered that, well, at that time it was discovered that this has been being rented out for 4 years on Airbnb without a variance. Over 253 reviews, 256 plus reviews. It's a super host location. So really, I think I know Amber, I'm gonna have you come in and say what you want to add, but you know, the question comes in, you know, He was formally denied the variance in 2021. He was informed that he couldn't rent the cabins. So the question really becomes what action the board may want to look at taking. And Robbie, you may have some knowledge of this because I think you went out to the property once as well.
It was for
Couldn't
him running
see.
a business, not for the sheds. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that shed is the business.
No, it's for his trucking.
Oh, that was for the excavating,
Yeah.
which that is a whole separate issue, but he's moving his excavating equipment right now to the new facility, but that wasn't a problem. It was just the fact that he has people coming, doing business on the property, staying. My understanding is these people have trespassed on neighbors' property. They're coming and going at all hours of the night. So with that,
What's
Full
the
Amber.
full name again of the
Or-
property owner?
the property owner Jeremiah Patrick.
Is there anybody here representing Jeremiah Patrick today?
This was all just brought to light, so I wanted to give Amber an opportunity to come in and chat with us, but in the meantime, I wanted to pull all of this together for you guys so that you had a better picture.
Amber, would you mind coming up and share up here?
Oh. Yeah, we can just have her sit over at the road if she wants to sit. Or you can move the chair up if you want to.
Great, yeah, we got a microphone here.
We got a mic and all, so.
And you're an adjacent neighbor?
Yes,
Okay,
actually, you could see right here where I'm at. That's my barn. My house would be right here, or my house is right here. Here's the shooting range where the police officers all come and shoot.
Mhm.
You see how close this is to my barn? My pond. My neighbor's kids play over here. They had the police
this
there.
is the shooting range?
It's a shooting range, yes.
Okay, and when did they start using it as a shooting? Range?
Over 5 years ago.
Okay.
I've got documentation back at home. This is full, and I got doors full.
You see this, okay?
Yes.
Okay.
I couldn't find any proof of the shooting range.
I
other than
have
what she has.
911 records.
Do you mind if I show this picture to
No,
these fellows
okay,
just real
yeah.
quick?
The cops knew that we felt our lives were danger.
Property is.
It's numbered. It's in the report that we stated that we felt danger, and they said they're fine, that they're responsible if the bullet strays. My grandbabies play right there on that sand hill. They don't know if my grandbaby's right there, or my neighbor's kids are right there. You know, they have the grapevine right beside the hill. And they're out there shooting, God knows what they're shooting. I mean, it sounds loud. And then the excavating, I got videos, I could pull them out. The trucks all day, beep, 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 beep. This is my quiet oasis.
What, you said police officers are out there shooting. Can you,
I got phones from
what police department is out shooting?
Stark County.
North Judson
Was it North Judson?
was the last time.
Was the one of the many times.
Okay.
In uniform and everything.
Marked cars?
Oh, yeah, marked cars.
Do they charge for people to shoot out there?
I have no idea.
And
There's a lot of shady stuff going on.
Stark County, you've
Mhm.
seen Stark County Sheriff's cars there?
Yep.
Daniel was one of the people I talked to, and he actually had his camera on. And they were shooting 50 cows. He said they were shooting 50 cows. It's okay. Long rifle, like down his long driveway, and was shooting. And that's when I called the cops, and they were like, well, no, these are cops. They can, it's a 50 cal, it's gonna shoot straight. Well, there's only 2 places in the state of Indiana that allow 50 cows to be shot. Fort Wayne and Indy.
Yeah, I have everything documented for years. Videos of all the trucks in and out all day, all the employees working, going in and out. Marv towing, had all his equipment there for years. I've got documentation of that. And I'm not the only one holding all this information.
And I will add, Mike, that I did, there's some emails there between Mary and
Emails that
Amber,
have
where
been-
she kind of, Mary did explain the excavating, there really wasn't much we could do. Because they weren't really, customers weren't.
And I have a voice recording.
She does
said
have that.
Airbnb is fine.
Actually,
basically, no, I
she
need
said they
to
needed a
call.
variance.
Yes,
So
and
they
I
have the
need to
ability.
call the sheriffs if somebody's trespassing. Well, by the time I would call the sheriff, get them there, they're off my, I'd be having drive like they're gonna drive through the sand barn to go there because they don't.
I don't know what
Anywhere
that
it
is.
is, I mean, it's like they're in the woods.
So we're talking about, so I got this straight. Two separate issues. We're talking about the cabins being rented
Right,
without proper zoning.
correct.
And also we're talking about potential illegal gun range.
Yes.
Our gun range is not supposed to be there. So we're talking about two things right at the same time, which is fine. I just want to make
Yeah, the only
sure.
reason I didn't have the gun range on there was my understanding was that they weren't charging for the gun range, and that it seemed like maybe it was a.
Yeah,
And maybe you have
with
some-
the gun, well, I don't know, I'm not sure if what, with our zone, you know, if that's. If we even have like shooting range, I mean, but
You
they're
can
not,
shoot on your property, but
Yeah,
you
you
can't
can.
commercial.
Right,
And not
and that's what we
pay for
don't know is can we, I couldn't find any proof that it was being commercially
Okay,
operated.
that's what I.
So where the cabins, I
didn't know if this
was
was
easily,
Or the cabin.
yeah, the
You know what I
cabins,
mean?
it was pretty easy to find the commercial operation.
Now, it does state in one of the police reports that there was police there doing shooting.
Okay,
Okay, right, you, sir.
I got a personal question is. Would it be legal for him to legally put this mound of dirt on our property line? I mean, it's a big sand hill, it's what, 75 feet long,
It's creeping on.
13 feet tall, and it's right on our property line. I mean, every time it rains, it's just impeding on our property.
well, that could be an issue because there's property lines.
I mean, and then not that, he built the property up 3 feet, the whole property, so he was low ground, I'm 8 feet taller than he is. So, you know, you see what I'm saying, where's the water gonna go?
Okay,
Bill, you were gonna say something about this, yeah?
Tim,
Who owns the property?
this Fitzpatrick.
Jeremiah,
Jeremiah
Patrick, yeah.
And what is it zoned for right now?
It's zoned residential right now.
And this came up a couple months ago. It was fuzzy because they had commercial trucks there.
Right.
And I think the board at that time decided that it was,
No, that's a wireman. Wrong.
Yeah,
wrong
Okay,
one.
different one.
I was
This
thinking it
is
was related
Very
to. the-
similar,
They did-
Okay.
very similar, but
Yeah, similar.
Different, it's different, it is similar, but it is different.
it's different, but there was a lot of truck related stuff on it.
So they have a Airbnb there and possibly using it for a shooting range.
in one of the comments from Airbnb 2021, one of the renters actually stated something about it being loud there because of hill excavating. They stated it right in the paperwork. Actually, I think that's the good one. That particular one.
Robbie, can you send that paperwork? That's her stuff. Can you send that back down this way?
Just make sure it's all hers, because it looks like there's something else upside down under there.
I have quite a
Yeah.
bit here.
On the note of the.
I think that's stuff.
going-
This is
That's
not
yours, the whole stuff, yours is all inside the binder. Yeah, thank you.
That's not it.
Okay, so
Can I look at that again?
You sure can.
line clearly marked? You know where the pens are, property pens?
Yes, our neighbor next to us has actually had this, so there's a pin there.
wow, and this is right there.
I'm not sure with constructing a berm.
You could take all that art and put in there.
I know,
Yeah,
I'm thinking about
setback,
setback,
yeah.
and
I just figured that stuff would be of most importance. I had the rest of it. Like I said, near at home.
I think probably
They need to, maybe implement it.
he was denied the
The variance.
the Airbnb variance. And
Well, that's where it's tricky. So
Mhm.
from what I can tell in all of the paperwork, his variance was originally for a wedding venue. That was denied by the BZA because, well, I can tell you unanimously in the minutes that none of the neighbors were in support of it. At that time, it sounds like some neighbors had informed the BZA when they came in that he was also running this Airbnb. He did come in and get a permit for that shed that he turned into a cabin. At the time, there was conversation between the planning upstairs, between her saying that, oh, well, no, we're just gonna make it a shed right now, but it was made very clear that if they planned on renting it out, they would have to come for a variance. Then when the wedding
It's
venue was
amazing.
denied, there was a note added to, and that is in that paperwork that you have, Mike, that I gave you, but there was a full note that said, we are aware that, you know, we've been made aware that you're running other businesses. You're not allowed to do that without a variance, and he never came in and requested another variance after that. My understanding is maybe recently Bose did reach out to him about needing to get the variance for the Airbnb, but
How many cabins does he have?
just one,
Just one.
just one.
Tim,
Has
is
he
there-
been informed that he should be here tonight?
No, he was not, because I wanted to figure out what everything was. So I think we probably do need to give him an opportunity, but you know, it's a little fuzzy because on the recording. And I can send that or show that, but it sounded like he had been made aware by Mary. He was told he needed to request a variance back in May. And he still has not.
And I contacted IDM and they contacted or got a hold of him about all the excess dust.
Right.
Cause it's coating everything and I got asthma, so I mean, it's bad.
Tim, what's the start of the legal action here to
I wanted to come in here and explain it.
So how can we encourage that to happen? To try to,
Usually it's a letter, comes from the commission that notifies him of the violations and sends the time for him to be here, to explain it. Don't do that, then you.
Yeah, I agree.
what's the
I think
will
we
of,
need to start with that. I mean,
yeah, what's the will of the board?
I think we need to get him in here and determine what the violation was and what action,
Want me
if
to hang
any,
a
we're
tag
gonna
on it?
take.
yeah,
You
It
can
needs to
tag
be,
it.
yeah, it needs to be a certified. Oh, tag,
Yeah.
oh, we need to send a certified.
this
letter
could
to
happen
him,
real
like, on
quick.
it.
Yeah,
Means
certified letter.
he's
It's
in
a
violation.
violation.
Well, but we need to probably hear his
Yeah,
version
you
of
need
it.
to hear his side of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Make sure there's due process.
Right,
Right.
And
Now, if he doesn't show, then that's a different situation.
Right,
Yeah.
we can get more aggressive.
right.
Lydia, you're kind of soft spoken. I want you to have your thoughts here.
Well, I think there's a lot happening
A lot.
on
And
the
then-
same property.
That's just a little bit of what I have.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of variability and I
There is.
sympathize with you,
There is.
you know, on fact that there would be uncertain parties coming and going to the
Yeah.
Airbnb from time to time,
Yeah.
you know, if it's not a week long or more renter. And then also then the shooting and from your position, that too seems very unpredictable.
It is extremely unpredictable.
Yeah. So I think something should be done to implement restrictions
Yes.
or conditions. You know, to have a fence or a barrier of some kind for your safety.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, and to take into consideration what the material of it should be.
Yeah.
I think your point about any stray bullet is valid. You know, and to the effect that you have people, including children, on your
Yeah.
property. So that's a concern.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And the neighbors' children, you know, they're out there picking grapes all the time. If a bullet just, I mean. And yeah, they're gonna be responsible. But this child is dead. You're burying a child.
All right. Any more questions from the board?
Nope.
Thanks for your time.
Okay.
Thanks, Amber.
Thanks.
But
Tim, is this something that you could draft and Robbie could?
yeah, give me the basic information.
Your motion for that or? do we-
Yeah, I think we probably should.
I'll make a motion that Robbie and Tim work together to draft in a certified letter to Jeremiah Patrick asking that he attend our next meeting in regards to the operation of the rental cabin and questions around the potential gun range.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Right.
Aye. All right. Gene. What do you have for us today, sir?
Well, actually, I don't have a lot I can give you. Certainly, the inspections are continuing and we're catching up to where we have a reasonable load now. I could give you a snippet of since, the week beginning June 28th, I performed, 19 inspections. 6 new meter bases, for electric service. I did a, new swimming pool, couple foundations, and 2 final inspections for occupancy. And I did 1 residential solar, which was a whole new beast for me. Took me a little while to get through that one, but it looked good. I've also given out 7 red tags. These 5 of them were primarily for not having their permits posted at all. And so I only leave these if there's no one there to talk to, so these were left on sites where no one was at. And I think you've had several responses from people. I left one at a garage being built on 500 South, and I know they don't have a permit, but they did not respond yet. I will be following up on that. I also found a foundation that was poured today, this morning, and they have no permit. And so I gave them a couple of red tags, and I looked up the owner on GIS. I don't know that they called in today or not. If they didn't, I will be following up on that too, because I wasn't there to inspect the forms prior to the pouring, so they're already out of compliance. And so these are the things I find on my patrols between inspection A and inspection B and C. So I just kind of patrol and look for building construction sites, and then I pull in to see if they got a permit. And I've asked them, there's several people have it put in their bedroom window, and these places are occupied, and I stress that I don't want to walk around an occupied home looking in windows for a permit, because it's just not healthy to do that. You could end up for hours. But anyway, so
It's good enough. It's not helpful.
I think in general, the people are getting the idea that we're stressing more that the permits have to be displayed, because I want to make sure I'm at the right spot, number one. And so, and make sure they're in compliance with our code. So, yeah, it's coming along fine. So I'm doing probably averaging 4 a day, inspections, and then whatever patrols I do, I go out looking for non-compliant folks. So, so it's working well.
What kind of an update do you have for the board on issuing permits? Are we now fairly caught up and able to issue most permits? Okay.
Yep.
And you mentioned that some projects you've stumbled across have started. Now, if they can show reasonable effort that they did try to get a hold of us during that period of time, I'm assuming we're working with them.
There's been, yeah, well, that's why I want to talk to 2 fellows that I tagged, because maybe they made an effort. There was one family that they gave me the date and the time they called the office and gotten no satisfactory response. So they're good. But the other 2, I'll give them a chance to, if they don't call me by day's end on Friday, I'll be visiting again on Monday. So the permitting, she's doing a great job getting permits people. So I think we're not, I don't see lines there. Was there any more? So that people are, there's things that I'm a little fuzzy on, those folks that come out on that house at Bass Lake today, and we talked about that. They're talking about either remodeling or demolishing and rebuilding, but we're a little fuzzy on the lake requirements out there with the setbacks and so forth. And so I keep hearing about, you just average things along the lake, and maybe you can expand on that a little bit. I don't know, because you look down existing homes and buildings, and there's no they don't follow the setbacks at all around the lake, so, what do we tell these folks when they come in and say, he wants to buy this place, but what's the criteria for adding on, or in my mind, I drove out and looked at it today, they have plenty of room based on all the other structures there, they have plenty of room to expand that home if they choose to, but if we can't go by these setbacks, they can't do anything with these setbacks, so I'm assuming that we go with the average rule that I keep hearing about, so.
They may need to go in front of the BZA for a
Yeah.
variance. If it's outside of the setbacks that are written in the ordinance, then it would require a variance, correct, Mark?
Should,
I was thinking. the
but I
exact
know
same
for a
thing.
while there, they did,
But it's
Like
an
he's
existing,
talking about.
an existing home.
what he's talking about is like there's several homes and they're all.
This home, yeah,
They
this
they
home,
just do an average of
yeah, this
like
home is
the,
set
off
back
the setbacks, yeah. I know that, they've
52
done
feet
that,
from the
before,
edge of water.
but I agree with her.
The other homes north and south of there are 20 feet from the water.
Mhm.
So he's basically got 30 feet to work with there based on what you see.
Right, just depends on when the ordinance, when those other houses were built, so I think that's where we have to look at what the ordinance says, and then if it's a variance, but I'm looking at Phil because he seems to know something.
A little bit. I just remember this coming up once and yeah, it's figured out. I think mentioned that going to BZA, but the fact that it's been granted so many times is like kind of an automatic thing,
Gotcha,
sort of, maybe. Don't quote me on that.
right?
That was a long time ago.
So should we ask him to come in front of the BZA?
Well, I would think so.
I think that makes it
Honestly.
clear. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, we've got to get to a point where we're not just doing things willy-nilly, so I mean, I think that. There
That's
has to
why-
be a starting point somewhere where we start,
Especially when you're talking lakefronts and stuff like
Yeah.
that, that's a lot of value there. I mean, they're spending lots of money usually.
Okay, well, I'm gonna request a motion from the board, that in this circumstance that Gene has described. Whether or not we want a variance or not, so if somebody wants to make that motion.
What would it be that they would have to go to the BZA because we can't. We're not doing variances here.
Only thing is they're not sure what they wanna do with the home yet.
That's why they stopped in to
Right.
see if we could give them some guidelines,
Right.
because he hasn't even purchased it yet,
oh,
so. I'm sure he's going to purchase it, but irregardless, if he does, he's undecided whether he wants to remodel or demo and build new. It probably just depends on a lot of what we tell him, so
right,
that's why we're trying to put together something to.
somewhere there's an ordinance that clearly marks. The distance that they have to be from the lake, and I mean, we have to have that somewhere, we're just gonna have to try to find it,
Yeah, that's.
which
the
is why we
issue.
need to get everything codified.
And then
That
if
would
they
be
keep,
great, because it's real time consuming to search through all those ordinances to try and find what you need.
if I recall, if they keep one wall, then they call it a remodel also, so they can get.
That's
away
what
with it.
Wisconsin, many states have that. If you leave one wall standing, one
Yeah.
exterior wall
Yeah.
standing, then it's
You
not.
call it a
yeah.
remodel and build around it.
But
There's
again,
two ways
that's,
around it.
All right, what's the will of the board here? 'Cause I see this being a real issue.
I'll do some more. I didn't dig into the ordinance very well yet. They came in today, so I haven't had time to look through ordinances.
Now, if you can look, I think, I'd like to see somebody look into what the ordinance is before we
Maybe my
jump
assistant will,
to
yeah.
a
We could
variance.
put this on the agenda for next month to kind of recap it,
Okay.
and then we can make a
Yeah,
decision.
sounds like the gentleman wants to do things the right way.
He does.
By being
He
proactive
He
and coming
went
to you.
the recorder's office, to the treasurer's office. He went to all of them to try and gather this information and do it properly. so.
Right.
Okay, any other questions for Gene? All right, we'll move on to code enforcement report.
I don't really have a report for this month or last month. I haven't been able to go out, but I have had like 12 complaints. So as soon as I'm able to go out, I will follow up on those.
Okay. Now, my understanding is you're getting a couple months behind on this.
There's about 12 altogether.
Is this something where, maybe Gene could hang out in the office for an hour or two to give you some time to at least. You know, he could, if somebody comes in, he can try to work with them and get you time to go out and check on these 12.
No,
Oh, I'm fine with helping out.
okay.
Actually, I looked at that one the other day. Well, you knew about it though. I looked at because of the neighbors complaining again.
Mhm.
The one that burned and they haven't done anything with it in over a year, so. Once again, the neighbors have issues with that, which I understand. And so I think. I think they were gonna have another letter sent or a letter sent to the owner.
Would there be any, pushback from any board members if Gene?
No, I think she needs to be able to get out and
No,
do
I
some
think she needs to
inspections.
Yeah.
get some of that stuff caught up,
Yeah.
try to.
Yeah.
But she'll get behind.
Okay, I don't think we need a motion on that, because I don't,
No,
yeah, I think we're
I
good.
think they can work that out.
Yeah. Okay, other business.
So I do have one thing, just the job descriptions. So I did email some rough draft job descriptions. And I know that we need to get to a point where we're ready to get these in front of commissioners as soon as possible. So I don't know, has everybody had a chance to review the job description? The one that I was most looking at is the joined
Positions,
position, yeah.
well,
And then what title we want to give it. I put some recommendation, just some title options in the email. But would just love to get anybody's thoughts. I didn't make a lot of changes. I added some things. Made it a little nicer for the introduction. Included things about benefits, but any feedback before or do we wanna? Is everybody good with it? If we're good with it, do we wanna vote on it and?
She
Give it this-
probably hasn't.
Has not had a chance to see it.
I do wanna thank you, Roberta, for doing that, because, I mean, primarily, that's gonna be a new position, and I knew it took some personal time, so.
No problem.
Is there any way you can
I can forward it. Yep. I can
send
do
it to
right
her
now.
and,
Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
So. No, I liked what I saw.
Just the start of it. It should auto populate for me.
Oh, it should be about elderly.
okay, any other discussion from the board? All right, well. I'm not gonna take up a whole lot of time, cause I do try to work with Gene and he does solve a lot of them that seem to come my direction. But I do have one here from a Chris Howitz. Is there a Chris Howitz here by chance, or somebody representing Chris? Okay, property owner in Coons Lake, he says he's tried to contact the department several times. And, he feels like he's getting the runaround. I'm assuming this was during the time period where things were kind of dicey in the office. But as things like this come up, I'm going to, if the board is okay with it, I'm gonna continue to kind of let Gene handle those types of situations.
Yeah, I would think that's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't want to make the decision on my own. I wanted the whole board to have some input there.
I mean, I had a contact, from the one that owns the brewery at the lake. He said that he couldn't get a hold of somebody, and I said, when was that? He gave me the dates, and that was kind of when we had a lot of issues, and I said, you need to contact them again. If you have a problem, then let me know. So, and he never contacted me again, so I assume he got it taken care of.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're gonna contact with him or not. But they're gonna be doing something right there. They got a variance there at the Lake Brewery at the front that they're supposed to be starting on. So just FYI.
Well, if I noticed, if she's in front of the computer with a citizen filling out a permit, it's difficult for her to go answer her phone, so she does not answer the phone if she's in the middle of finishing a permit. You just can't physically do it. I mean, the phone rang 3 or 4 times, and now you got people waiting permits, so she may miss a call now and then, but if they leave, she does listen to voicemail, so they would leave a voicemail, but it may have happened prior to.
Well, the phones are still the way they were.
Yeah.
So Mary's getting her same calls, Savina's getting her same calls,
Right.
those calls goes to
Yeah,
you.
still get that.
Cause I don't know how to change all that.
So are you able to access that voicemail?
I think so.
Okay, if not,
Unless they have a,
Need to work with
they probably have a
IT.
password.
we probably need to get Luke up there so that you can see what voicemails might be in those boxes.
Could be worth someone getting.
I smell for mine and I never got a call back.
Okay,
So, but I just happened like email after phone call, I just stopped in the
Right.
office and then
yeah,
that's when I found out everything went down.
so I think maybe Mike, I don't know who, Robbie, maybe you can reach out to Luke tomorrow and ask him to come up and
Unless they can
Fix-
forward it all- and
forward them all to
to-
your voicemail,
Yeah.
that would be great,
Yeah.
yeah, and then get.
Cause
those
I'm missing
picked up.
all those. And I have no way to pick it up and put her pin in to,
Okay, so yeah, we need to fix
Yeah.
that.
And I'll assume nobody on the board has an issue with her accessing these.
No,
No, okay.
do what you gotta do.
All right, anything else from the board before we go to public comments? Okay, anybody from the public?
I got one quick one, with the, work that y'all are doing on the solar ordinance, there's a workshop that's coming up. You may already have them, and I apologize, I thought I printed out.
Yeah, I think Lisa, I know Lisa emailed it, I got.
Oh, Lisa James?
Yeah, she
Yeah, I got
emailed it,
it,
yeah.
okay.
So, I mean, I would just say, I'm these two organizations that are putting this on. American Planning Association is the professional association of city and regional planners. They do very, very strong work, and it looks like exactly the things that you guys are wanting to understand and find, what's best practice, what are other communities doing, all that kind of stuff. I know that it's in the middle of the day. Typically, though, you register for one of these things, they'll record it and you can get the recording if you can't actually listen in. But I would just encourage you, it'd be a good, hour, and it was probably a good use of that time, given all the focus on the new ordinance.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else from the public? I've got a couple new faces here. I don't see very often. Did you folks?
Yeah, she's here for BZA.
Oh, BZA, okay.
And she's
I'm
with
with-
me and with her.
Okay.
Me and these two.
Yeah, they're waiting for the public hearing.
Yeah, we definitely need to move on.
Yeah. Okay, time and date of next meeting.
It's the 13th, August 13th.
That's our normal.
Well, that's our normal,
Yep.
Yeah.
so, and then the executive for the 30th.
Yep.
And then we need to figure out when we said we were gonna do that public hearing, you said you have it in your notes.
I thought
I thought it was July 23rd,
13th
but
of August.
let's revisit that.
Yeah,
But
and
we
she
have
can
the
listen to the
second.
meeting minutes too.
Okay, so July 30th and then August 13th.
There you go.
You know.
July 30th is the public meeting.
No,
No,
it's
no, the
executive.
13th, August 13th is our next regular meeting.
And is that the public solar meeting too?
No,
No, we're still, we gotta get the notes. We gotta listen to our recording from the last meeting to see what.
yeah.
Okay.
We've got and our executive meeting today was more about hiring and so forth, so not about solar in any way.
It's not the 13th.
Correct. All right, anything else from the board? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye. All right, now Robbie, I
Good
think
luck.
we need to stop the Zoom. And then restart it. And put it under the BZA.
Taking off, Chris. Good seeing you.
I gotta give them one.
Is what?
All righty.
Which agenda?
Yeah.
Won't be many here. Mr. Bailey, well, good evening. Now I know I can call you late. I'm gonna remind myself.
Right.
You're watching the Cubs game.